Alright guys, so we're going to take a look at the stock version of the car here before we customize it. Just a little background about this car. So originally when I saw this car, seeing the look of the car and given the manufacturing or the in-game manufacturing name of this car, Pegassi, I thought this was a Lamborghini. What's interesting is this is not a Lamborghini and actually is not produced by Lamborghini, at least the real life version of this. Pegassi, the in-game brand, is based off a Lamborghini, so again that's sort of why I thought this was a Lamborghini. This car is actually produced by a company out of Italy as well, so it's kind of interesting. So Lamborghini is also in Italy, but this car manufacturing company is in Italy, and it's basically, the name of it is Ital Design. The real life version of this car is the Ital Design 01. So pretty interesting. Like I said, I thought this was originally a Lamborghini, but it's not. Ital Design, actually, what's interesting is this is the 01 is actually the first car produced by them, which is pretty cool. Originally, really what they've been around since really the late 1960s, and what's cool is really what they're mostly involved with is sort of the look of certain cars, or the look of cars for different companies, the sort of the testing that goes into some of these cars, as well as sort of the engineering behind different cars for different companies. What I mean by that is they've done testing and whatnot for cars such as Lamborghini. They've even tested some Bugattis, or they've been involved with sort of the making of certain Bugattis. You know, so and actually what's even cooler about that is not only were they involved with just those and a number of other cars, they actually were involved with the making of the DeLorean, or at least you know, the testing of it or whatnot. So that's really cool. So really originally they really been involved with more of, like I said, the testing or the engineering, the look behind a lot of these cars, but none of these cars have been produced under their name. This is the first car that's been produced under their name, so that's pretty cool. So I sort of want to give a little history about that. I found that very interesting when I was looking into this car. Really what you'll see here, and so I'm just, like I said, I'm driving around the stock version here. I'm going to be heading to my CEO office, going to customize this in my mod shop. But really what you're seeing here is what really made me like this car. See, when I look at these new cars, I don't just look at the performance. You know, the performance is important, don't get me wrong. But I also look at sort of the uniqueness and how this sort of is set apart from other cars in GT Online, or at least other cars in its class. And you're going to see here, this is an open roof car. There's only one other really high-end car, or at least supercar in GT Online that has this, and that's a P-Fister 811. That came out over 3 years ago with the Finance and Felony update. That's actually the first update they started introducing drip feed. The 811 was the second drip feed vehicle. In that update, as well as really ever in GT Online. So I thought that was really cool. But like I said, we're gonna get into sort of the customization here a bit, and then I'm gonna drive it around a little bit after, sort of give you a short review, and so we'll end the video there. So let's get into the customization. So here's the customization coming up here. I'm just going to talk about a few things here with the customization. I'll let you guys check it out for the most part. The other thing I want to say about this car real quick, there was sort of so much, because I did a lot of research on this car. I was very interested by it, but it's also an ultra limited production series. I believe there's only around 5 of these cars. I believe they range from around 1.7 to 2.4 million. It's actually cool, is that's around the price of the in-game car too, which we don't always see that. Sometimes Rockstar, they go crazy with the prices. But who knows? It might even end up being more than that, just because of the mere fact that this, you know, there's very limited amount of these cars. But sort of with the customization here, again, you have the option to have an open enclosed roof. I think that is probably one of my favorite parts of this car. Like I said, I think that really adds to the uniqueness of the car. You'll see later, as far as like really the color scheme of the car is concerned, there is a primary color. The primary color pretty much occupies the majority of the car. And then you have a secondary color. There is no trim color, but the secondary color actually, it occupies the color of the mirrors, actually even the coloring around the tires, and then it even sort of, like I said, acts as a trim color in the sense that it basically affects the coloring around sort of part of the dash, around the doors, as well as around the around the seats as well. So the secondary color sort of does act as a trim color, even though there's not an initial trim color. I believe the wheels are also, I was looking through the wheels, I believe that they are also unique to this vehicle, which is really cool. And as well as that, we also got our 10 unique liveries. So that's really cool. I believe, like I said, they've pretty much been doing that with all these drip feed cars with the Diamond Casino Resort update, so I'm sure they're just going to keep continuing that. But But yeah, I think this car is really cool. Like I said, for the most part, I'm gonna let you guys check out the customization, the rest of the customization for this car. And then what I'm gonna end up doing is, like I said, I'm gonna drive it around a bit. I'll go over sort of my final product, or what I came up with this car. And then I'll drive it around a bit, just sort of get a feel for the car, tell you sort of what I think as far as performance is concerned, and then we'll end the video there. I don't know if I'm going to do a video based off of like really an in-depth performance as far as maybe like top speed is concerned. I may do a video on that. I don't want to say I am for sure, because I've said it the past couple times, I really didn't have time to get it out or do it or be able to produce that video. So I may do one, I may not. I don't know 100%. We will see. But yeah, like I said, we'll go over the short review. But like I said, yeah, I think this is probably one of my favorite cars so far, just given the fact that you have the open roof. I know I keep saying that, but I just think that's so cool, because there's only one other car that has that. So I'm gonna let you guys check out the rest of this, and then we'll sort of get into a little bit of a final review.
If you can think it, I can do it. Life is hard when you can have anything. How many cars you got in this garage again? Bodywork to match the driver. Think long and hard. Making decisions is stressful. The cops stop you? Don't tell them I installed that. Do you need a drink? Bubbles or something?
So here is my final product of the Pegassi Zorrusso. Basically, I believe I went with a primary carbon black as well as with a secondary ice white or frost white. I can't remember exactly which one it was. And I used the tricolor livery. I always look up real life versions of this car. A lot of them had the tricolor livery. I believe even a lot of them sort of had a white color to them. There's even another one that I really couldn't match the color scheme to. You can even see here, I'm going to go in the interior car here. You'll see how the trim color, once again, or I'm sorry, not the trim color, how the secondary color affects the interior of the car, almost like a trim color. I also want to show you here, this is kind of cool. So there's actually, with the exhaust, there's actually an option to sort of have an exposed exhaust, which I think is cool. I believe the real life version of the car sort of has something like that. I don't know if it's that exposed to the degree that it is in the game. You'll also see the taillights. I think the taillights are really cool, almost like these blades, individual like light blades in a sense coming out for the backup lights and the brake lights. I think that's really cool, and the taillights just in general. So I think that's also a really cool part of the car. But on top of that, like I said, I was trying to figure out, I believe there was a version of this car that was black as well. Like I said, a lot of them were white, so I sort of mimicked that car. You'll see I was making sure this guy wasn't going to come and kill me, but we're going to take off here in a second. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drive down the highway here. You'll see, unfortunately, it's raining. Not necessarily the best time to drive this car, especially considering it's an open roof car. I mean, what are the odds of that? You know, the one open roof supercar we get, and I'm driving around the rain here. Obviously don't want to do that in real life, but yeah, I'm just going to take it out here, and I just wanted to sort of get a feel for what it's like. Just again, you know, this isn't an in-depth performance review. I don't 100% know how these are gonna, you know, how this is gonna rank against all the other cars in the supercar class, but I just want to get a feel for it. See, I sort of punch it down here. As far as like the acceleration is concerned, I don't think the acceleration is that bad. I obviously, something like a coil cyclone is going to still smoke this thing, you know, in acceleration wise, whereas this car might beat it in top speed. But I'd say acceleration is average to maybe a little bit above average. That's what I would think, at least based off of the feel of this car. Same thing with top speed. I would probably say top speed is around the same. I would say that it's probably around, you know, average to maybe slightly above average. I still don't think this is necessarily going to smoke something like a Devastate 8. I still think something like that is still going to beat this car. So, and like I said, again, you know, I'm not going to say 100% that a Devastate 8 is going to beat this, but, you know, just off of, you know, I have a lot of experience, you know, driving these cars. I've tested a lot of these cars out in the past, and, you know, just off of just driving them around and sort of, you know, getting a feel for, you know, comparing the feel of this car to those cars, you know, I can sort of have an idea of even though that, you know, I'm not directly racing them against each other or recording their times, I still sort of have an idea of where these cars are going to rank against each other. So I still think that something like that would likely beat it. So I think that this is probably a fairly average car to maybe above average. That's what I would say for this. I wouldn't necessarily buy this unless I mean, I would never recommend it anyway, but you obviously want to check out more about the performance if that's what you're concerned about with this car. But like I said, I don't just focus on performance. I focus a lot on the uniqueness of the car as well. I think just the overall look, like, I mean, even with the taillights, I think the taillights are even a really unique part of the car, but the fact that it's, like I said, I've said it like 1,000 times already, but the open roof, that's obviously really makes makes this car very unique. As well as, you know, even just like the one exhaust option where you sort of have an exposed, a little bit of an exposed back end on the car. You know, I think that's even, you know, that's fairly unique to the car. I'm not sure if there's really any other cars or too many other cars that have that, but like I said, you know, I always look into the uniqueness of the car. I'm not just going to focus on performance. I like to get both aspects. You know, I don't, you know, I really like when Rockstar, you know, focuses on, you know, like I said, not just performance but uniqueness. I like them to make their cars, you know, all the individual cars apart from other cars. You know, I like to be getting something a little bit different with every car. I think that's what really makes these cars special. But you'll see here, I was sort of just messing around with the brakes too. You see me jamming on the brakes. I feel like the brakes are pretty good. I mean, like I said, you know, obviously I'd have to do in-depth tests, you know, individually see, you know, which car has the best braking. But overall, I mean, just driving it around, you know, handling-wise or whatnot is fine. Brakes seem fine. Traction seems very good. I believe even the traction might be maxed out for this car. You can't always go by those statistics when you look at them, but traction seems pretty nice. The overall handling of the car seems great. So, I mean, just driving this around just for the heck of it, you know, it seems like a fairly handling well car. You know, I just don't know exactly, you know, 100% how it's going to rank against other cars in its class. You know, obviously I'd have to do a little bit of some more in-depth testing to sort of see that. But in any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. I hope just sort of what I'm going to be giving you based off of the customization, the background, and sort of just a short review of the car, give you an idea of whether you're going to want to buy this car or not. I think this car is a very unique car. I like it for that reason. You know, obviously I'll have to test it with some performance a bit. Obviously, if you're interested in that, you know, I may have a video about that, or be sure to check out somebody else's at least who tested it before you jump in. You know, as far as when you're looking at the performance of this car, or consider buying it for the performance. But yeah, guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it beneficial, and as always, have a great day.